Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the Supremely Enlightened One. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, friends, I hope everyone doing good. Actually, I did this today's sutta before with my Toronto friends, but I couldn't share that one with my Winnipeg friends. I think that is really helpful and very supportive for our mindfulness training. First, I will share that it is also about um, a certain discussion. Actually, it was in the Buddha's time. It said that a deity, a certain deva, came to bring up sense of urgency to a meditator. So he's giving some instructions. So that is very helpful for us. Let's try to understand that one. This is about Akusala Vitakka Sutta, unskillful thoughts. On one occasion, a certain bhikkhu, which means a monk, or let's say a practitioner, uh, to be able to understand, we usually apply this for rest of the other practitioners. A certain bhikkhu was dwelling among the Kosalans in a certain woodland thicket. Now, on that occasion, when that bhikkhu had gone for the day's abiding, he kept on thinking evil, unwholesome thoughts. Okay. Now, this monk went to the meditation, but in that moment, his mind invaded with unskillful thoughts, unwholesome thoughts. Okay. He kept increasing that, which means he provided all the uh, like necessary things in order to keep on these thoughts in the mind. So he was fueling up all these thoughts. Actually, in that teaching, it describes there are three unskillful thoughts. That is, thoughts of sensuality, thoughts of ill will, and thoughts of harming. So these are regarded as unskillful in the perspective of a meditator, a person who is searching for mindfulness or peace of mind or awakening. So these thoughts could block that attainments. So these thoughts prevent us attaining the enlightenment. And also we learned about those things in another different teaching, that those thoughts are actually the hindrances. These are making hindrances, like blocks towards the mindful training. So the first one was sensuality, which means also it is sense desire. Uh, we had a discussion about this. Actually, the sensuality or sense desire is actually the thoughts regarding the sense objects, which means the things that we see and hear, so on. So these thoughts always keep on wandering in the mind, and these thoughts are working in the mind. So these are regarded as sensuality. These are regarded as unskillful because it prevents us from attaining mindfulness and attaining enlightenment. Okay. And the other thought is the ill will. Ill will means the quite opposite of the sensual thoughts, which means the while the thoughts about sense desires increases craving, and that way make the mind restless. And the ill will is that resistance towards the sense objects. So we get aversion towards the sense objects to um, escape from that sense desires. So one think of like resistance, like repel from that experience. So those are called ill will. And harming, which means next the harming comes right after the ill will. Let's say there is ill will in staying in the mind, so that can motivate to a certain way of harming ourselves or others. So that is harming thoughts. So sensual thoughts, ill will thoughts, and harming thoughts are regarded as unskillful. In the Buddha's teachings, the metrics or the standards to understand something is unskillful is by having a certain reflection to know the nature of that thought or a nature of that activity or action. Let's say there is a thought which is harmful for us or like bringing hurting ourselves, and let's say there is a thought hurting others, and if there is a thought hurting either sides, ourselves and others, that is regarded as unskillful. So that is how the Buddha taught to understand about the unskillful things. So if there is a speech that I'm doing hurting myself and hurting others, that is an unskillful action, unskillful speech. Let's say that I'm doing an action from my body that is hurting myself and hurting others, that is regarded as unskillful. For an example, let's say harming, like killing living beings, so that is hurting myself and hurting others. And speech which deceives others, so that is also unskillful. And again, among the thoughts, Buddha say, understand these thoughts of sense desire is unskillful. Why? Because it is an understood concept in Buddha's teachings that sense desires is an enemy towards the mindfulness. Even though there is uh, like benefit, like let's say there is an um, some support to our life through the sense desires, which drives us with the sense desires, but it blocks the true happiness, it blocks the true peace of mind. It blocks the ongoing peace of mind, which means as soon as an sensual desire lands on the mind, so it distract the peace of mind. So it is said that momentarily we can let go the sensual desires and we can live at peace, such as during a meditation. In a meditation, we make our mind still and peaceful, and in that moment, there is no any way of entering sensual thoughts, which means actually it is the things that we remember from the past or the things that we expect in the future. Those are all sided with this sense desire. And also ill will. Ill will means anger. It is easy to understand. Ill will means that we uh, there is this irritation in our mind. There is irritation uh, and also the stress which brings from the ill will. So there are such thoughts. Those are also regarded as unskillful. And also the thoughts on harming, that is very clear. That is the harming thoughts means wanting to harm another with a word, or perhaps wanting to harm another with an action. So there are such thoughts also. So actually, according to the Buddha, these are the thoughts which is commonly found in an unawakened mind. So when the mind is not in jhanas, or perhaps in stillness, or maybe not in an awakening state. So all there is these three types of thoughts. This is a Buddha's categorization of the thoughts. So we need to understand that there are these three types of thoughts. Actually, by understanding its qualities, we can we can learn that these are the unskillful thoughts. Now, this monk, while he was going to do the meditation, he was so much distracted by these thoughts. Actually, he was fueling them because there is an enjoyment in these thoughts. There are enjoyments. There are happinesses relating to these thoughts. Otherwise, they won't stay in our mind. So we are giving it an power by thinking again and again, so that it increases our distractions, it increases the restlessness. Actually, in that moment, this monk wanted to do the meditation, but these thoughts deceived him and took him into this uh, some kind of an out from his meditation, out from his mindfulness. These are also the thoughts which we have in our day-to-day lives. So these are remaining in our mind. So now this deity saw this monk. Then the Devata that inhabited that woodland thicket, having compassion for that bhikkhu, desiring his good, desiring to stir up a sense of urgency in him, approached him and addressed him in verses. Actually, it is said that if we were to feel the sense of urgency, which means the attitude of like we should not waste the time, we should not let go of opportunity, we should do it right now. If we were to have such a feeling, if we were to have such a sense of urgency, it is said that there will not be such distracted thoughts. We make that sense of urgency by listening and practicing the teachings and practicing the Dhamma. So that quality, sense of urgency, is very supportive towards the peace of mind. So it brings us more and more energy to let go the unskillful thoughts. Now, actually, if a person were to still their mind or awaken, they themselves has a very powerful sense of urgency. They feel that. They always feel the sense of urgency so that they don't let their mind to wander here and there. Actually, we learned about this, thinking about the suffering in life, that we create the sense of urgency. Thinking about our pain in our life, that we can create this sense of urgency. Let's say, for an example, if a person were to reflect about their impermanent nature of the life, let's say the people, the beings who are born to this world, they are gradually faced to their old age, and they at some point they are suffer from sicknesses, and they also separate from their loved ones, and then they face to the death. So if somebody were to think about these things, so it brings this sense of urgency, so that they don't let their mind to wander, because there is the best time to meditate is this moment, this present moment. There is no time to waste. If a person were to think like that, they can build and they can create and increase their sense of urgency. So actually, there is no point of being angry at others, because there is no time to be angry, because we need to focus to our mindfulness. We should focus to our meditation object. We should focus to our postures. So then at that moment, normally that is how we get sense of urgency. It is also connected to our thinking. We need to think. It doesn't come naturally. We need to do the reflection again and again, the nature of the life, so it make the sense of urgency. Now it is said that the deity understood that if this monk were to get the sense of urgency, he will continue his meditation and he will become enlightened. So the deity thought, okay, I should go and support him and show him this rare opportunity so that he will continue his meditation, because now he is so much obsessed by set of thoughts which is unskillful. Nobody knows where that will lead him. Actually, as a monk, the sensual thoughts, ill will, and harming thoughts is very dangerous, very harmful, because that can stop his training and he might actually destroy and go back to his ordinary life. So then the deity wanted to show that. So the deity said this in verses. This is in Pali, this part. Ayoniso manasikara so vitakkehi kajjasi. Ayoniso patinissajja yoniso chintaya. Because of attending carelessly, you, sir, are eaten by your thoughts. Having relinquished the careless way, you should reflect carefully. Let's go back. Because of attending carelessly, you, sir, are eaten by your thoughts. Now the deity said, be mindful. Now, because of your careless attention, which means it is called ayoniso manasikara. In Buddhism, in the teachings, there is this ayoniso manasikara, the part ayoniso manasikara is a kind of unwise thinking. Ayoniso manasikara means unwise thinking. A person is attending carelessly. Because of attending carelessly, there are some teachings which talks about this Ayoniso Manasikara. So I found out of some of the teachings actually in Nettipakarana. There is a book called Nettipakarana. In that book, it is said that the unwise attention or the Ayoniso Manasikara means we are thinking whatever come to our senses, which means we just merely follows whatever enters through the senses without any reflection, without any wisdom, without any insight. We just catch everything which comes to the senses, and we keep fueling that. That is Ayoniso Manasikara in one angle. So now in this sutta it is said, because of attending carelessly, you are eaten by your thoughts. Now why this monk is like consumed by these unnecessary thoughts is because of attending carelessly. Now he don't give wise or careful attention. He don't give a correct attention. He just absorb whatever come to their senses. And because of that, you are eaten by those thoughts, which means you become so much devoured by your own thoughts. You have become so much damaged by your own thoughts. You have become consumed by your thoughts because of unwise attention. It is actually what we always have in our life. It is the nature of the unawakened mind. We have always this application of our mind towards whatever come to ourselves. It is said that for the enlightened being, they don't have that type of a thinking. They have the awakening. So whatever they see or hear, they have this um, good approach towards whatever enters to their life. But in this teaching, it is said that because that he is catching everything which is come to them, which is come to him, his in his life, in his monk's life. So he's catching everything and he's just letting it to grow in the mind, and then as a result, he is becoming eaten by the thoughts. You know, in the morning that we normally go to our work, so throughout the day, we are engaged with so many things with our work, and we talk with people, and we go for our lunch, and we share our thoughts, and we spend some time with the people. And perhaps if we are doing a work or certain job, we gotta uh, engage with the people. So then we are going through these sense objects, we are going through these sense pleasures, we are going through desired things in our life. At the end of the day, we have this restless mind. It is feels us like we are being eaten by those thoughts. Now he say, the deity say, having relinquished the careless way, you should reflect carefully. Now try to think carefully. It is said that, you know, the part that we think about sense desires is a is an is a something that we give out of our ignorance. The sense desire arises because of the ignorance, because we are giving it unwise attention and we are catching something from our sense objects, and that's how these thoughts survive in the mind. That's how these thoughts like stay in the mind, because of we are giving this unwise attention and we are catching the sense objects, and we ignorantly keep fueling the causes, and then there will be this result of sense desire. So as for the anger, let's say anger, so normally there can be something a person spoken to us, so we catch that sound and we give ignorant thinking to us to that, and then we keep fueling of the anger. As long as we have this ignorant thinking and as long as we catch those words others speak harshly, we keep angry, we keep the anger in our mind. Now he said to break that. Don't follow that, whatever come to your mind. Having relinquished the careless way, you should reflect carefully. Now try to think correctly, try to think skillfully, try to think wisely. Now he give an example for that. What is wise thinking? What is skillful thinking? Now he found, now he instructed the monk, oh, these are the unskillful things you should abandon. You are being devoured by that. You will be so much stressed if you leave these thoughts in your mind again and again. Now do this instead of that. Don't focus careless way, start careful way. Now this is according to the deity, this is how the careful way of thinking about that. So he say, by basing your thoughts on the Buddha, on Dhamma and Sangha and your own virtues, you will surely attain gladness and rapture and happiness as well. Then when you are suffused with gladness, you will make an end to suffering. Now he said, by basing your thoughts on the Buddha Dhamma Sangha. Actually, it is now the suttas are focused to a one goal, and in that goal there is something called a refuge a person take. So that refuge is the starting point. It is where that we build our trust and confidence and faith. So this deva, this deity, share that instruction from the suttas, from the Buddha's spoken words to this monk, and and say, base yourself on the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. Don't go away from that. Stay with the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha with such thoughts. And also very interesting, he say, and your own virtues. Think about your own good things you did, your virtues. You will surely attain gladness. Now he give the instruction. Now this is how you can bring the gladness. Here the gladness means spiritual happiness, a spiritual gladness. It is not the gladness coming from the excitement by seeing a food or something, but this is talks about our own spiritual happiness that we have inside. So he say you can increase that. You can get such a gladness. You can get such a spiritual happiness. Now, this deity actually give the instructions by saying actually in a deeper level there is a meaning behind this saying, you will surely attain to gladness. That is when our mind our mind wanders to the external things, as long as we don't have a spiritual gladness inside, as long as we don't have spiritual happiness in ourselves, if we don't have spiritual joy inside, in that moment mind wanders. That is why mind wanders. That is why it go and latch into the external things. As long as when there is no inner happiness, inner gladness, because all the mind want is happiness. It can be spiritual, it can be sense pleasures. All it wants is the something to be entertained. But if we can teach the mind to happy with something that we possess ourselves as spiritual happiness, so it can make the mind so peaceful. So he say in this part of the sutta, you will surely attain to gladness and rapture and happiness as well. He said that this your happiness will grow gradually. You will get gladness, you will get rapture, and you will get happiness as well. Your inner spiritual happiness will increase all the more. But for that, he say, you should base your thoughts on three things, four things, Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and on virtues. These are actually the qualities of a stream enterer. So they get the thoughts on Buddha, thoughts of Dhamma, and thoughts on Sangha, and also on virtue. At the later of the discussion, if I get time, I will share some a certain meditation about the virtues, so that you will understand how to think about the virtue, because it is limited here. So yeah, so the Buddha actually basing thoughts on the Buddha means thinking about the Buddha's life, how hard that he attained enlightenment, how much dedication he had to do. Actually, it said that before he attaining enlightenment, so he abandoned palace, abandoned all life, abandoned all the powerful sense pleasures, and then he went to a forest where there is nothing, and then he searched for the enlightenment for six years, wandering here and there in the forest and following the others' teachings, others teachers who taught him about so many different thousands of techniques that they claim that lead your life to enlightenment. But so he found out nothing worked. So for six years, so he did so many self mortification to found out the enlightenment. So now this deity say, think about the Buddha, how many qualities Buddha had, how much compassion Buddha had. So such a thinking increases our gladness, our inspiration. And then there's no time to wander. There's no time to wander to the external things, because we found the inspiration inside. We are enjoying that within. So we are thinking about the teacher again and again, our Supreme Buddha. So it motivates us to observe our breathing more easily, to observe our postures more easily. Actually, one of the reasons why our mind wanders aimlessly is because we never try to feed it with a good, skillful thought. I mean, like forcefully. I mean, like intentionally. We just follow whatever comes to the mind. That is one of the reason why it wanders pointlessly, aimlessly. But this time we are trying to introduce a new set of thought. Mind, you can think about Buddha. And you can think about Dhamma. Dhamma means actually things that we learned so far during our discussion. So in this mindfulness in Buddha's way, we talked about so many teachings. So if we need to think, we have many things to think. We can think about loving kindness. We can think about the teachings we learned so far. We can think about mindfulness. So these are increasing our spiritual happiness. And also Sangha, which means the lives of the enlightened monks, enlightened nuns, and your own virtues, which means if a person were to um, observe a certain precept, they can use that restraint to increase their spiritual happiness, his spiritual gladness. Then he said, then the deity said, at the last part of this sutta, he said, then when you are suffused with gladness, you will have so much gladness in your day. You will make an end to suffering, which means that lead us to a certain goal in life. It is not leading us to insatiable thirst, insatiable um, restlessness in our life, but it lead us to a goal. That goal is make an end to suffering. So all these meditation lead to that goal. So now this deity say to this monk, base your thoughts on Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha and your own virtues. That is how you can develop your spiritual happiness, and that way you have something to rely on. Whenever you see, whenever you hear distracted things, you have something to base your thoughts. You have something to stand on, so that you don't um, attack by these distractions. Then continuously thinking about Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and virtues are very helpful to sustain our mindfulness. Then that bhikkhu, stirred up by that devata, acquired a sense of urgency. Okay, friends. I also wanted to talk about the Iryapata, the posture meditation, a little bit more, but I have added the meditation on virtue. I will share that virtue meditation because I want to adjust the time. Here, this part, think about your own virtues. Now here we have this meditation called Sila Anusati. Sila Anusati meditation, contemplation of virtue. So this is what actually that deity was speaking about. A person's thinking about their own virtue. Sila means the virtue, Anusati. Actually, this is the precepts that we are observing. Let's say how this is just a suggestion that was given, but there can be many different ways depending on the person that how they think about their own virtue. It is said the person think like this with the intention. This is the meditation. Uh, these lines are the exact pattern or the phrases that we think during our uh, contemplation of the virtue, Silanusati meditation. With the intention of attaining Nibbana, I observe the precept of abstaining from killing beings. So that person think. Mindfully, I strive to observe the precept of abstaining from killing beings. I practice loving kindness to all beings. I do not intentionally hurt beings, large or small. Because I observe the precept of abstaining from killing beings, I am free from fear. May all beings be free from fear. May all beings live happily. So we think these phrases over and over again. It is amazing by thinking like this, let's say exactly like this, create inner joy, develop inner happiness. And this is spiritual happiness. We can grow this all the more because we feel so much esteem in ourselves. We create, we feel so much confident about ourselves. It is said that if we were to catch all the good things, like the things that we did and do in this moment, and if we can increase that, we can use it as a very powerful, powerful force in us. So one think, oh, I don't kill living beings. I don't intentionally hurt beings, large or small. Because of that, I don't give fear to anyone. And may all beings free from fear. May all beings live happily. With the intention of attaining Nibbana, I observe the precept of abstaining from taking what is not given. Mindfully, I strive to observe the precept of abstaining from taking what is not given. By any means, anywhere, with a mind to steal, I do not take what is not given, big or small. As I adore my property, valuables, and money, others too adore their possessions. I do not take what is not given by deceiving others through fraud or with a mind to steal. Because I will observe the precept of abstaining from taking what is not given, I am free from fear. I don't have fear. May all beings be free from fear. May all beings live happily. And again, that person can think, I observe the precept of abstaining from taking what is not given, and I encourage others to observe the precept of abstaining from what is not given. In doing so, I experience joy. There is a joy inside, there is a happiness inside involved in this action. So there is no regret about concerned about the actions that they did with stealing, but instead they have joy inside. So they think, I experience joy. This joy will help to concentrate my mind. With the intention of attaining Nibbana, which means the peace of mind, I observe the precept of abstaining sexual misconduct. Mindfully, I strive to observe the precept of abstaining from sexual misconduct. I do not engage in sexual activity with a man or a woman who is not my husband or wife. I am trustworthy to my spouse, to my children, and I develop unblemished conduct. Because I observe the precept of abstaining from sexual misconduct, I am free from fear. May all beings be free from fear. May all beings live happily. So that way, it goes for all the other precepts. Also about deceiving others. I observe the precept of abstaining from lying. I abstain from that. I strive to observe the precept. By any means, anywhere, I do not deceive others by lying. I do not hurt others by lying. I speak the truth. I stand for the truth. I speak pleasant and kind words. Because I observe this precept, that I myself free from fear and others also free from fear. So this is how a person can think about their virtue in order to let go the distractions, in order to let go anger, in order to let go about the sense desires, and to let go about the harming thoughts. They can cultivate all the thoughts about their virtue. Oh, I'm not a person who commit evil things. I'm not a person who harm beings. I don't steal others' things. I don't sexually misconduct. I don't tell lies. So when we think about our own value of our actions, it increases our joy. It is said that they can those who are doing this meditation build a very powerful confidence that they can approach to any group of beings. It said that according to the teachings, they can go in front of any powerful people without fear because they don't hide. They have so much confidence that they don't have the actions that regret themselves, bring remorse to themselves. So they have very direct, straightforward actions. They know that they don't kill, so that they don't uh, bring scare, fear to approach to any place. So it said it built themselves so much confidence and also the joy. With the intention of attaining Nibbana, I observe the precept of abstaining from taking intoxicants. I do not take any intoxicants that leads to impaired mental activity and unwholesome bodily and verbal actions. I do not take any intoxicant as a way to celebrate my happiness or when I'm depressed. I abstain from taking intoxicants that leads to affliction, that harms my wealth and safety, and that causes diseases. Because I observe the precept of abstaining from intoxicating intoxicants, abstaining from taking intoxicant, I am free from fear. May all beings be free from fear. May all beings live happily. So that is how we cultivate this inner joy, uh, depending on our virtue, on our actions. So this is how we can let go all the regrets, all the remorse that there is exist in our mind, so that it can lead ourselves to a very mindful and peaceful lifestyle. So actually, it said that one should, according to the Buddha, according to that deity, he said, think about the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and your own virtue. So the spiritual happiness will arise in you, so that you can use, you have a safe happiness in you that brings you inner joy all the more again and again. And if you suffused with that happiness, you can easily focus your mind to the meditation object, to your breathing or to your postures. Okay, friends? Okay, thank you for listening to this Dhamma talk. So. Okay, friends. Mm, what are your thoughts about this, about the sutta?
I had a thought, Bonti.
Yes,
I was actually, although it makes sense, I was surprised at how fear was the root of all of these actions. The anger, the lying, the stealing, the all of these things. Um, how observing those precepts um does create confidence and eliminates fear. It was surprising to see it in that way.
yeah.
So that was great.
Yes. Um, yeah, in our innate human nature, we have such a power, but because of the distractions, because we don't know how to think correctly, ayoniso manasikara, that we collect fear, we bring up fear. It is said that enlightened beings never frighten for anything. They don't have fear for the awakened beings.
I can
Which,
see that.
which,
Like I oh sorry.
yeah, yeah, which means if there exists any fear, it's because of unawakening.
Mhm, mhm.
In a deeper level of our consciousness, our mind, we have very powerful confidence. But because we do whatever come to the mind and we think whatever come to the mind, bring us insecurity, brings us fear. Well, let's say, do we need to frighten to anything in the world? What do you think? Should we frighten?
Well, I could see from this teaching that we shouldn't, but it seems to be a an automatic response, almost a natural response
Yeah,
that
this
has to
is,
be overcome.
yeah, that is what actually Buddha found.
Ah,
Buddha found that it is possible to abandon that fear. You don't need that fear. I mean, fear can be applied to many things, you know.
yes,
Yeah, let's say I have fear of uh, fire. Let's say I because I have fear of fire, I don't touch the fire
right.
because it will burn me.
Yeah.
This is not talking
Um,
about that fear. This
yeah.
is talking about the fear that we have about our fear that we carry always with ourselves. That what will gonna happen to my life and who I am and what will happen to me and where I'm going. I mean, like somebody can tell many things to us to make us fear intentionally. Let's say a person might tell so many things about our life and can make us so frightened. That is ignorance. But they say you don't need to frighten to your life. You don't need by listening to someone. You don't like let's say if I were to tell you that you are going to a bad place next life, so you will easily get frightened. But you don't need to frighten to that. Why? Because if you, as long as you awaken, you know how your life work. You know that you don't go to a bad place.
Ah, is that where we can appreciate our own virtues in that sort of argument?
Yeah,
Ah, okay.
if we appreciate our virtue and we know that our virtue is clean, clear, so that
Hmm.
it doesn't lead in the future to any bad birth. And again, we know that it makes us to a higher place because of the
Yeah.
virtue. And now let's say in the perspective of a meditator, let's say a person meditate or develop mindfulness. Now there is distracted thoughts flowing into the mind and taking here and there. So then we can take our virtue and we can think about that, and it make spiritual happiness not necessarily about the next life or so, but it is actually about this present moment
Yes.
that we are making joy inside. Because how the deity said is that all you need is an inner joy to increase, no matter where it comes from. Because we cannot increase the joy of a food and then think about it again and again and to make our mind still. Can you? Can we make our mind peaceful by thinking over and over again of food?
No,
No.
not
About
at
a
all.
beautiful person, like a celebrity, like a beautiful hair, nails, teeth. Can we over and over again think about that and make our mind peaceful?
No,
No. A song, let's say a song, increasing our greediness or lust, and a man or a woman is singing a song and it makes us so much lust. Can we make our mind peaceful by that? No, our lust increases. But if we base our thoughts on our virtue, our actions, or teachings, Sangha, Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, it can make our mind so peaceful.
Can you make your mind peaceful by listen? I listen to a lot of meditation music.
That's a very good practice if we can listen to Dhamma talks. If we
Yeah,
can get such a habit, because think listening to Dhamma talks um, brings joy, inner happiness, and there's no space to the to the hindrances, because hindrances are a byproduct of our thinking, our continuous thinking,
mhm.
sleepiness, anger, doubt, restlessness. These are all our unwanted thinking.
But if you're focused on the Dharma talks,
Yeah,
then those
yeah.
those thoughts can't come in. There's no room
You
unless you
mean
have a big head.
those thoughts means distracted thoughts while listening to
Yeah,
Dhamma?
distracted thoughts. Because
Yeah,
if you're
yeah, yeah.
listening to
I got
Dharma
it.
talks,
Yeah, yeah. I got
then
it.
those thoughts can't come in.
Those thoughts can't come in. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what if we are listening to a Dhamma talk again? Those thoughts are coming to the mind. Where's the problem? Why?
I haven't had that happen, so I don't know.
There are times like that. Even that we are in the middle of a Dhamma discussion, our mind might wander. Our mind actually wander. It can think up about something we had in the past as a sense pleasure. Actually, it is because our focus to the Dharma talk is not well grounded. If we were to focus completely to the Dharma talk without letting any word to escape from our hearing, it has power. As long as it is spoken about the Buddha's teachings, I mean, like suttas, it has power to still the mind, being the peace of mind. But if we listen, there are not all Dhamma talks are Buddha's teachings. There can be Dhamma talks, whatever people might think is good, and then they say that this is a Dhamma talk. But that can distract the mind. There are some monks that I know that while they preach, that they can preach with a still mind, which means when they teach the Dhamma, their mind doesn't wander anywhere. They are inside a jhanic concentration while they preach the teaching. I know some monks. That's why I said some monks. I don't know everyone, how they think. But I don't say that when teaching Dhamma, they don't get any joy. They definitely they get joy when they teach the Dhamma. And do you get any joy listening to Dhamma?
Yeah.
Any joy?
Of course.
Yes, I do, Bhante.
Yes.
Yes, that's why we came today, Bhante.
Exactly. That's why we continue
That's
our
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Because-
they don't listen only to mindfulness in Buddha's way teaching, but listen all the Dhamma teachings wherever you can find. As long as you have the trust that this is coming from the Buddha's teachings, keep on listening. It will lead you to a very beautiful mind. Well, your mind is beautiful. So because we got more time, let's end the discussion, friends. Thank you so much for joining with me. See you next week. Namo Buddhaya.
Terus Swaminathan.
Namo Buddhaya, Bhante.
Namo Buddhaya.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante.
And to
Thank
all the
you.
screens as well.
Buddhaya.
Namo Buddhaya to everyone.
Yeah.
Namo Buddhaya, everyone.